Or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, guys, welcome to the Kilimanjaro Leadership Summit info webinar. I'm Ronnie, and if you're joining us live or if you're joining us on recording, lovely to have you here and lovely to have you join us. So to kick off and set context about what this is about, why we created the Kilimanjaro Leadership Summit, I really want to share how much we've learned, how much we've grown, how much we've seen people grow and shift and transform their lives from taking on feats of this nature. Because as you can imagine, this Kilimanjaro itself is a mountain which has massive brand value. It is something which the number of human beings that have summited this mountain can be counted. There is a register of it, and it truly is a bucket list item for many. But we're going to share the nature and design of what we're doing on Mount Kilimanjaro as distinct from a climb. So when we were out on one of our treks, one of our trekkers, our regular FITBANKER participants, was sharing that, you know what, I really realized that come out a day with their kids and family, and they themselves, as an adult, as a grown adult in their 30s, 40s, learned so much just from the outdoors and teamwork and pushing beyond and outside the comfort zone. And she goes, you know, not all classrooms have four walls. And indeed, that's the case. And this quote by John Lubbock, which is the earth and the sky, woods and fields, lakes and rivers, the mountain and the sea, are excellent schoolmasters and teach some of us more than we can ever learn from books. And it really has human beings discover what's possible for them on the other side of when they think they can't go anymore. And many of you who'll be joining us will have your own personal journeys. You'd have had your own personal setbacks. You'd have your own personal motivations as to why you want to take this on, and those are things that you will be able to share and contribute to others as we really get to form a global family when we do something of this nature. So as mentioned, it's not just a climb. We are discovering leadership in a tent, on a mountain, outdoors, and way above the clouds. We cross the clouds on day one. On day two, we cross more tiers of clouds, and it's just heaven to look down and you just see blankets of clouds below. You can't see the earth. It is bucket list item, world's highest single standing mountain. Of course, Everest is the highest by altitude and it is a mountain range, but Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest single standing mountain. The design of what we're doing is day one, we have a full day of workshop, and this is around mindset coaching. This is a bit of dealing with things like anxiety and fear. This is about setting expectations for what to expect on the mountain, how to deal with others, and any safety precautions or gear precautions that we need to talk about. It's a 7-day climb. This is what's called a non-technical climb, which means there's no ropes and picks, and there's no what we call ski boots or spike boots. They are just regular trekking boot, not regular, but there's certain design requirements for the boots that we need. And why is it key for you to sign up early or get clear when you are? Because you obviously have to break into some of your gear, mainly the boots. So this is a walking trek, and it's doable by most human beings. So I just want to set that there. It's not as hard as training for a marathon, but equally, it's not something to be taken lightly. And on the 9th day, we have a day of seva, or gratitude and reflection, where we get to appreciate and acknowledge people in the communities that have contributed to our summit. We will be doing some fundraising for them, and I'll share with you some of what we did last year versus what we'll be doing this year as well. And then on either side of that, there's an arrival and departure day, depending on what time your flights come in. And you get to connect to this global community of people from the US, likely people from Canada, from the UK, from Zambia, and we may have others joining from different parts of the world. You never know. We've had people previously sign up the week before, which is not recommended. You are going to pay more because we have to individually deal and process with your payment. We are officially at the full price. I'll talk about that later today. And we're looking to create 30 leaders. We have 18 people signed up so far, and so far all 18 are intact, and it's going to be amazing. We have people from I think there's a girl as young as 16, or somewhere in the teens, maybe 17, 18. A few people in their 20s, a few people in their 30s, a couple people in their 50s. Just doesn't make a difference, right? People, very well accomplished businessmen, entrepreneurs, lawyers. We have somebody who's a state council from Zambia is joining us. So really well accomplished people. But guess what? On that mountain, that means nothing. We leave our ego at base, and on the mountain, we're human beings, and our truest leadership emerges. A 13-year-old kid could help you in your hardest moment, or a 76-year-old adult would help you in your hardest moment. So you really discover your greatness as you discover operating as a team. Our promise is that this is one life transforming experience. So let's have a look at a bit of the background. This was us in 2014. That was me in the front, the big guy, 100 kilos, and I did it then. So just off the start, if anyone thinks that they might be too big or overweight, I did it 100 kilos, and we're going to share with you others who have done it that way. Question, Meg?
Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many times have you done this track?
2. This is the third one we're going for.
Okay, and was 2014 the first time, this was envisioned and started?
Yeah, so just to get clear, so what I'm doing is we organize this as FITBANKER, but the group and the company that we use have taken people thousands of times. Maybe they've been in operation for, I think they are about 20 something years. Yeah, 20 something years in operation. They do about, they easily would be doing between 40 and 50 groups a year. Not sure of that number, but I'm approximating based on the number of weeks, because this is what they do. They're one of the most experienced. We've used different providers. We've known other people who've used different providers. We have some people joining us this year who have gone previously with different providers on budget, did not summit, had horrendous nightmare experiences with experiences like food and tents. And there are a few other extras we have that others don't provide. I'm going to talk about those, like toilets and showers and extras that we carry with us for our campsite. And there have been some nightmare experiences. And so we use guys who are like amongst one of the best. We also have luxury accommodation at base. It is the best, by far, the number one best place in Moshi. I'll show you photos of it. It's called Weru Lodge. And it's actually much better than I've used in 2014 or even 2017. So this year we've gone a notch up in terms of luxury and especially comfort. And we're doing this because we want people of all levels of experience with the outdoors to be comfortable as they take it on. So let's have a look at the climb. So it's world's tallest single standing mountain. By the way, and the guide we have, many guides are not English speaking. We have going to have all English speaking guides. The main guide we have is actually an award winning guide in the region. His name is Whitey. When you meet him, you will know why the nickname is Whitey. And he is somebody who's also, when I say you have local guides, so the Tanzanian guides, and we've previously done this with also other international guides, but they ultimately you can only climb Mount Kilimanjaro with local established Tanzanian company. And there are many people that operate there that aren't officially recognized as things, but the tourism board and the game park authorities allow them to get away with taking people up, which is not actually legit. So we do take people. We'll talk about the safety, comforts, and certain ways that they treat the employees, and tipping. We actually get involved directly with the tipping and a bunch of stuff around that. So it's a 7-day climb. We do multiple routes to the top, about 7 or 8. We will be doing what's called Machame route. I'm very familiar with this route, done it twice. I've wanted to change this route twice, but I've wanted to change it for selfish reasons, because I wanted myself to do variety. But every time I've looked at every other route, this one is the one which would be the most scenic, would offer the most adventure, the most variety for anyone doing it for the first time. So even though I've wanted to change, I end up bringing back to here because I'll show you some of what's along the way. How much do you walk each day? You walk about 5 kilometers to about 8 kilometers on average on most days. Only on the summit day, we will do 17 kilometers of total walking distance across the day. And we will spend about 5 hours walking on the shortest amount of walk that we do in a day, and up to 16 hours on the summit day. That excludes rest time in between. There is rest time that we have, and that rest time is ample. and we actually move at what's called a slow pace. So you learn Swahili. The first 2 words you learn in Swahili is pole pole, which means slowly, slowly, because if you go too fast, you don't acclimatize. If you don't acclimatize, you will have altitude knock you out regardless of your fitness, and you won't be able to summit. We have 4 nights accommodation at base, right? So there are other providers that have people go from the airport, go straight, spend the night, and start the climb the following day. There are 2 risks there. One, you've not rested well and acclimatized. Number 2, some of the airlines flying into Kilimanjaro, unsurprisingly, may have your luggage missed on that flight and come on the next one, like Kenya Airways or Ethiopian or Turkish. And that doesn't work when you're doing something of this feat and this level of investment. So we keep an extra night before, hence we're spending 2 nights before and 2 nights after. It is the best luxury, what's called, I say bed and breakfast, but it's a very amazing hotel slash lodge. And obviously there's lunch and suppers there, but we may go out for a variety of different cuisines. We will go through 5 terrains and different climates along this mountain. We'll go from about 30 degrees. We'd be walking in t-shirts or vests and shorts on day 1 through a rainforest, and we could get up to negative 20 degrees at summit, depending on the weather. Generally, it will be about minus 5 degrees at summit, but it does get as cold as minus 20 at night. Although we won't be sleeping at summit, there is an 8-day option to do that, but we won't be doing that. That's just some crazy folk that love to sleep inside the crater at the top. You need equipment and gear. Bulk of the equipment, like tents, including sleeping bags, are not provided by most, but we are providing sleeping bags. You can bring a sleeping bag liner, or you can choose to bring your own sleeping bag. We will have a whole host of things. We have a list of about 30 or 40 items that you need to get. Maybe about 20 or 30 of them you'll find are things you need to buy. Others you might already have them. On the climb, your food is all catered for, so 7 days of food is covered. You have guides and staff, so we have a ratio. The quality of your climb companies is determined by the ratio of staff that they have. So to take 30 people, we will have about 60 support staff. So it'll take 90 people going up the mountain at once for 30 of us tourists to summit. And there's a bunch of extras that we have that we throw in, which are chemical toilets we carry. We carry about 1 per 12. So if we are going to be, more than 12, we're going to likely carry 2 of them. They also have set toilets that are built up there. In 2014, there used to be quite dilapidated wooden structures with drop pit holes in the mountain. That is significantly changed now. They've built some nice concrete structures and tiled up stuff and toilets, but hygiene sometimes might be an issue. But we are carrying anyway our own chemical toilets, just like you have in an aeroplane or like you have at festivals. We also have a shower, which is quite unique to us. Even this provider don't often carry it, but they bought one and they're carrying it for us. It's something we've requested with the previous guys we've used. We've carried it. I've had showers up till day 4 or 5. The default on this mountain, most people, is that they just wet wipe themselves down because it does get cold and people don't want to shower. And we're also tired. People want to walk, they want to eat, they want to sleep, and they want to get up and repeat. Day 6 and 7 is coming down, so we start off midnight of day 6 and we summit by about 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and we come down that day, and we spend 1 more night on the mountain, and day 7 we finally come down and exit the mountain. So there are multiple routes. This is the one we're doing. It's called Machame. We start off at 1800 altitude. This has an AMSL, which means above median sea level, altitude of 5895, about 6 kilometers above sea level. Day 1, we'll go immediately from 1800 right to 3000. We won't feel the altitude at all, that one. We'll just feel a change in temperature. We'll also see a change of going from tropical rainforest to it clearing into what's called alpine territory. The next day, we use an approach to increase our chances of success. I mean, you can do this mountain in a 4-day route or 5-day route or 6-day route. They all have a very low rate of success of summiting. Summiting is not guaranteed. It never is, no matter who you are, because nature is nature. But we increase it by going for the 7-day route. We increase it by having additional support staff. We increase it by having right food. We increase it by right procedure and protocol to follow on the mountain, like times to eat, times to sleep, hydrating, and so on. And we also increase it by this route or this approach called climb high, sleep low. So day 2, we go from 3000 up to 3800. Beautiful place called Shira Camp. You're like on the edge of the mountain, edge of the world, and you just see this blanket of clouds ahead of you. We'll look at the photos shortly. Then That day we go and we have lunch at a place called Lava Tower at 4600. This is just for your body to sample what it's like at an altitude of 4600. That is already the height of Everest Base Camp at 4600. We then come down to 3900 and we sleep at 3900. Your body has now sampled breathing at that level, eating at that level, or sitting at that level, resting at that level. At 3900, you go to sleep at that level. The next day you wake up and you suddenly find you have a lot more energy because now your body has become more efficient in generating high amount of red blood cells. That day we walk quite a bit, but we only do a 100-meter ascent, and then we sleep again at 4000. Next day go to 4600, place called Barafu, named after the Hindi word called baraf. A lot of Swahili words have got their terminology from Indian language because of the history in Tanzania. And then the final day, we start off at midnight and we go through the night. We summit by about 8, 9 in the morning, 5, 8, 9, 5. And then we come back down to Barafu, we have lunch, and then we come back down to a place called Millennium Camp, spend the night there at Omweka Camp, and then from there we come out the next day at Mweka Village back at 1800. This is another look at the mountain. You have that little spike jutting out on the side. That's called Mawenzi Peak. This is what it looks like in the morning when you see it poking out the clouds, and it is really, really beautiful to see this. And that moment when the sun comes out, I'll show you what it's like. So what does it entail and how do we get connected? So once you join, we have a WhatsApp group with all the other participants. You'll get to connect with them, and people are sharing their journeys of them training and them, their countries, what they're doing, their gear. They ask questions, and you want to be in early to get a sense of relatedness with these people. It's one thing, we have people who are joining us who have attempted this before and not summited. They're saying this is making a world of a difference to them. Their level of confidence now is they are already showing up like the leaders on this climb, quite distinct from previous. We have people from 3, maybe a fourth one coming from Zambia now, and we have people from the UK. We have a very big family from the UK, very big business family from the UK, and they are joining us. They are very, very well-to-do families. So there's a whole mix of uni students to young professionals in there and their parents. And, one person signed up and then everybody got excited and a whole bunch of cousins have joined them. So this last year is a group from Zambia. On the left is people from Kitwe. The bottom was us training Brecon Beacons. On the right is a lady from Spain, Emma. This was us leaving on day one. It was Emma's birthday. Everyone comes to the airport. They say their goodbyes. We share our photos. Really exciting. Looking forward to meeting these people we've been connected to virtually. This is day one. We do a bunch of exercises, mindset exercises. We do some intros. We do what's called the life map exercise, and we share and create our context. We share our why that we're doing this. We then look at what is it when we've been dealing with that area of our life that we've been stopped, that we've been stuck, that we plateau. What is it when we want to cause a shift or a change there? We distinguish why we give up. Now, everything we speak often is quite conceptual, but when you're on the mountain, you discover what you're able to do both at mental level and physical. That when you're faced with your hardest hardships, what I mean by that is you might be walking, you might be tired, you might think you can't go anymore, and then it starts raining, and then you think this is for about 15 minutes or it's a light shower, so you don't pull out all your waterproofs. You then realize that was a mistake and you start getting a bit soaked, and this is what actually happens on the mountain. And people got soaked because if they don't listen and cover up in time. And then they think they couldn't normally do this. And then suddenly you find it's been raining for 2 hours and you've been soldiering through. And when you think you couldn't go anymore, you found that, wow, your body and your mind is this amazing piece of machinery. So top there is Simran as well, who did it. She was 108 kg when she signed up. She summited at 93. This is us doing our life map exercises, sharing, introducing ourselves. As you can see from Amir, is a Bangladeshi guy who joined last year. There's no dress code. The dress code is what you want to wear for this day. And this is day one of the climb, so day 2 of the summit. And we head off to the gate, we check in, we register, we sign up, and we start heading through. This is what smiles look like when the sun is out and it's dry and everyone's happy and they're about to take on the greatest mental and physical feat of their lives. Bottom right is what I want to show you, is that we use company that supports and works professionally with their guides. There are many guides and porters there that really get abused. They get overloaded, they get underfed, and they get underpaid. And here we have them being weighed in, checking that they're not carrying anything excessive, checking that they have all the ample gear themselves as guides and porters. And when we come down, we are also involved in the tipping process. So this is us starting up the mountain. As you can see, it's tropical rainforest, creepers hanging down, thick green bushes, amazing array of birds you'll get to see, and a host of probably monkeys, but you won't get to see much wildlife from this route that we're doing. And it starts off with a little tarmac, and then it changes immediately to gravel in a short while. And day one, we get to the first hut, and we have everybody registering there. This is one of our guides to Maini. We get to day two of the climb, which is day three, and you see immediately the terrain changes. It becomes one of alpine, so the evergreen trees, and it becomes really beautiful. You're looking down and you see the sea of clouds below you. It's really amazing. We have a ratio of about maybe 2 or 3 people will have their own guide. Guides are different to porters. Porters are the guys that carry your luggage. The guides are the ones that are trained to professionally look out for you. They walk with you. They teach us song and dance along the way. We learn a bit of Swahili. We learn some amazing songs and amazing slogans. This is day 3. This is Shira Camp. This is the one which is like rock right at the edge of the mountain. It looks over to a sea of clouds. This was a bit of a misty day, so you can't see or appreciate the blanket of clouds there. But at a different point in time when we got there, you'd have seen that there. The bottom left is Patricia, the morning after as we're taking off, and that's us in the tent. This is what the tents look like. We have thermos, we have hot water with ginger, we have coffees, we have teas, we have hot soups there, we have all the stuff that's designed to nourish your body. Again, something we do is we provide FITBANKER nutrition on these mountains. So there's extra food that we get, that we bring in, some from the UK as well, including things like protein oats and nut butters that isn't otherwise found locally or provided locally. But we bring this in. We bring this in because we want people to really have a quality experience. That is our main focus. We want this to be really memorable. And while it is an adventure, while it is somewhat roughing it out, it will really be an experience where you're taken care of. And that's what we want people to be left with. This is Amir having his lovely, nice ginger chai along the way. That is a reminder, like in life, when we keep reminding you, see this top image of Kibo Peak. Kibo Peak is the actual cap of Kilimanjaro. And you keep seeing it, like in life, when we're going for something, you always want to have that vision in place. You want to have your goals clear. You always want to be able to look at it. And from time to time, it disappears. It gets cloudy. That's what also happens in life, whether you're looking to transform your health or your relationship status or your finances or start in business, whatever it is. We will really learn from this mountain on a daily basis. We do some exercises where we reflect on our learnings from the day, and we see how and where this applies to our life. And in our brain, we form these neuronal patterns that reinforce what we've learned, and we consolidate our learning at the end of each day. And it's a very different way of learning, very experiential, very little class time, very little theory, but who comes out after the 9 days is a whole new person. And this is looking down at that bed of clouds, so you can see what this looks like. We're starting off now to go to Barafu Camp. So this is the penultimate night before we start to summit. And as we go here, we cross what I call piece of the moon. So it's like walking on Mars. And if we're ever going to move to Mars, then you guys will have a warm-up. So this is what it will look like. This is inside a tent. This Pablo came from Spain last year. This is Charlene from Zambia. She has now gone on to sign up to do Everest Base Camp inspired by this. She's going to likely be Zambia's first Zambian lady to do Everest Base Camp. So we're waiting for her to confirm it, and she will, she's sharing it with her and our Kili family. This is, like I said, there are many ways to do Kilimanjaro. We do it in a big group, and this was, first batch of that group getting up there, 5 of them, 6 of them, at Barafu Camp. We're at 4673 meters, and this is where it's a bit barren, and it's called Barafu because it used to be covered in ice, but global warming or not, on this particular day, it was no ice. When we go there, we might have it all ice capped at this point. And then there are others that do it in groups of 2. This is a dad and son. This is a 16-year-old son. This was his 200th mountain that he was doing. They came from Arizona, and they were sharing that, this is also one of the ways they do it. They did it quite rough. They were doing a 4-day route. They were carrying their own food. They were cooking themselves, and they were, but they're very fit. They really took something for them. The dad himself was struggling, even though he's been a veteran doing it. The son was 16 years old. He was ahead of him by a bit, but we got to chat with them, interview them, and see what it was like for them. They still, of course, needed their own guides and a porter, so they had 2 other guys in their team. And then this is us, walk through the night. Of course, we don't have photos of through the night because nobody has good enough flash. We tell you on what to carry technology-wise, how to manage things like battery and so on. And this is the first light that breaks. The clouds crack, and you get that first streak of light come through, and it's the warmest experience you can get on the back of your neck. It is amazing. That is the Mawenzi Peak that I showed you earlier, and it's awesome. People come here and they just light up, because that night while we're walking, we start off at midnight. We walk for about 6 hours before this sun comes out, and when it does, you really, really, really fall in love with the sun, and you really, really are grateful that you're an earthling and that Earth is very close to the sun. And it really, guys, is something out of this world to experience. You get presence to the solar system and what we're doing. So this is the first pictures everyone wants to take of that sun falling on them. And then we get to what I call the rim of the mountain. So this is Uhuru Peak and Stella Point. This is Stella Point, and this is not the final peak. The final peak is Uhuru Peak. And we keep reminding people, and we even tell you right from now, when you get here, it's very easy to mentally or psychologically switch off, but you've just reached the top, the rim. You have yet to get to the highest part of the rim, which is the ultimate summit. And some people in 2014, one person turned back here, and he missed out on the best bit because, well, he got diarrhea through the night and a tummy bug, and he had to turn back, which is a shame. And in 2014, which wasn't a FITBANKER thing, we had somebody else, she had to turn back on day 4. We'll talk about some of the risks, but that I was like to do preparedness and level of fitness. If you carry on past this, you experience these beautiful, largest, magnanimous, gigantic glaciers. They really look like castles from the cartoon Frozen. They're massive. Like this photo, no photo could really capture or show how big it is and how big it was. And then we go past them, about 45-minute walk. Normally that distance would take you 10 minutes to walk, but at the pace we walk at that altitude, it takes us about 45 minutes. This is the final summit, 5895, Africa's highest freestanding mountain, the world's highest freestanding mountain, and it's the roof of Africa. And this is the first group getting there. Now, Amir there is one of the leanest, most muscular guys in the group, yet fitness doesn't mean anything on this mountain. 2 minutes or 3 minutes after this photo, he started projectile vomiting because the altitude does affect people. It did affect him through the night. He did struggle, but he made it with the right team support, with the right pauses, with the right break, with the right hydration. He got to do it, and that's could happen to anybody. We'll talk about some of the greatest people it's happened to. This is Pablo. So all of us got to there. Group of 12 plus the guides of 13, and 11 of us reached all at once. We got a group photo, and this is us. So you want to bring your flag of your country that you're representing. You want to bring anything that you want to share, because this photo is going to be yours forever to keep and share. This is Charlene representing Busybody Gyms from Ndola, and it's awesome to be able to support people to share what they want to share about. And then everybody turns back, and I said, I'm not going down till we get Simran. And Simran, we had to separate from her, or I had to separate from her. I was always staying at the back. This is something I do. As a reminder, on the mountain, I'm not kind of legally responsible for you, but the climb companies, because they are legally registered. But I am there because I love everyone that's coming on the mountain, and I'm taking you guys, and I'm offering you the coaching and the opportunity to go out there and do this. So I tended to be going back and front, shooting between the front of the line and back of the line just to check on everybody. And through the night, I was with Simran for most of it, and I had to leave around 3 a.m. to say, I want to be there for the group photo. So I went ahead, and then everybody went down. When you get to the top, you experience what's called hypoxia, which means all those lovely family and friends I had there, like my childhood friends, Anand and Dipti, who love me otherwise, at that altitude, people think it's a life or death scenario. It's quite hilarious once you've done it a couple of times and you know what to expect. And people change, people flip, people will. And I'm sharing this with you because if you both are joining, this is something that may happen to you. You might suddenly be swearing me or having a go at me or wanting to punch me in the face. And I'm trained to be okay with that. I'm trained to laugh it off, go back down, and then hug and kiss at the bottom. But basically, everyone went down, and I said, I'm waiting for Simran, so I had to wait. We waited about 20 minutes or so, and then my guide said, look, I don't think she's making it. We got to go. So we started turning back, and then we saw her, and it was very, very emotional moment for her, for me, and it's something where when she signed up, the world ridiculed her for even thinking of trying to, and saying she was not fit. From the moment she signed up at 108 kg to the day one that we started the climb, she was 93. She lost 15 kilos, and she summited this mountain, which is truly an accomplishment. And I'm humbled and grateful. And it's not down to me; it's down to the individuals that we had 100% summit rate. This was her. This was her journey, and everyone creates a mantra as they go. and hers was, I didn't get this far just to get this far. And we coach in our, we have weekly or monthly webinars. We've already had about 6 of them, and we have now 2 more before, or 3 more before our final summit, where we check in with you guys, we prepare you mentally, we check in on your concerns, your fears, and have you supported. This is us now down at the base. There's that lovely congratulations board. Everyone takes a picture there. This is the full group. So to take 12 or 13 people, we had about 46, a team of 46 support staff. Up here is Amir and his guide. Amir has a single denture, which he lost when he threw up overnight. And it was amazing. So this guy is a guide. Oh, what's his name? Not Jakob, I forgot his name. But basically, he went and found it in the dark. The amazing, well-trained guide found his tooth, gives it to him, and he carries on, washes it, and carries on to the summit. But we had a celebratory photo because I had matching missing teeth. And we had an awards day that we had here back in London. So in January, 2 months after, a month and a half after the actual summit, everyone got together for the awards brunch and breakfast. And they won the Lost and Found Award, which is really beautiful and fun day in the way we do it. We really want you guys to all experience a sense of family and community. We come down, and this is a place called the Sikh Club. We went there for dinner. They have hockey and soccer there on a Friday night. It's a little Indian community club that is there in Moshi. We will be going to a different place this time. Bottom right is a sample nightclub. We picked the wrong one that night, but we now know the right one to go to. So there's a lot of learnings having done it before. We've, like I said, we've upgraded the accommodation. We've upgraded actually the climb company, which has a few extras that we're getting thrown in and provided. Host of other things we're sorting out, everything from airport pickups to a bunch of other stuff. So except for the meals we got and the drinks we have, almost everything is included. And you just need to bring get your personal clothing and gear, and come with a smile and do some training as well. This is what we do the day after. This is the day of Seva and gratitude. So this is a school that we're fundraising for. This is what we were fundraising for last year. This year we will be going to a different place. It is a deaf and blind school that we will be going to. And we need to sort this out, but we're looking to see a way we can fundraise online and gather the money to take out there and hand it directly to them, because when we do it through a UK-based charity, which is what we did last time, they were both UK-based, the actual what ends up down at the bottom is obviously, if you look at things like simply UK office space for that charity or salaries, a good amount of that, gets utilized here, which is just part of the design and part of the world we live in. But if we can directly, we raised about £7,000. If we could give that on the ground, that could make a massive difference to people at base. So this is us giving a talk in the school. It was a Sunday. All the kids came in uniform, so excited to hear about us guys in town. Some of the board members of this school were actually our guides. So we got to see this. They've had a reception, grade 1 and year 2. They now will have got funding to build year 3 because of us. That's this classroom. That's Simran with a guide, and his son actually is in the school. It was awesome to meet those families. So that was a lot from 2017. 2018, like I said, we've put in a few extras. We also have a tree conservation project, so we're going to likely do some tree planting with another charity. That's tentative and subject to time, but we will be going to the deaf and blind school for sure. Our promise is this will be one life transforming experience. I grew up in Africa. I've done loads of stuff there, but when it came to this, I really have treated myself by making sure that we don't compromise on the quality of the experience. Ultimately, look, it is a mountain. You are having people cook on gas burners up the mountain. So, we're not going to get roast food out of an oven or something of that sort, but we do get some amazing food. They're going to make stuff from like lentil dals and soups to roast sweet potato to yam to amazing stuff, corn to protein porridge, whole bunch of stuff. And depending on whether you're veg, non-veg, vegan, pescatarian, whatever your requirements are, we're having those catered for. This is a look at the accommodation we're staying at. So this is the lodge. They've got these beautiful camels there. You get to chill with them, go for a ride while we have the 2 days before and 2 days after. It has a lovely pool there as well. So we're going to get some awesome swim, so long the water is filled and generally the sun and the weather is good that time of the year as well. So it's going to be a really, really amazing experience. They're beautiful, beautiful rooms and lodges. It's a notch up and a notch and a half up from where we were last year. Then we go on safari. Safari is optional. If you want to do this, it's a four day experience. Again, this one, growing up in Africa, I've not treated myself to anything like this. We went in 2014, and a group of friends paid thousand something pounds for safari, and they slept in like tents and basic tents and basic hostels, and they did feel quite ripped off with the company they used. So I decided, if we're going this time, we want to make sure it's luxury. So we really went to the best of the locations. To give you an example of how you could get it wrong, this is in Ngorongoro crater, where those guys are standing there, and you can get lodges outside there, but they're very far from the crater. But we were staying on a place where you're literally sat and sleeping and eating on the edge of the crater. This is about 2 meters away from me, this lion. This is in the Serengeti. I'll show you. Yeah, the safari is finalized. So this is what it looks like. This is exactly where we sit having tea time every evening and cocktails. That's looking in the crater. The window is on the edge of the crater. There are only 2 lodges on the edge of the crater. So we're staying at one of them, which is a really amazing, well-known thing. This is called the Ngorongoro Crater Lodge. Beautiful. Each of the rooms have a balcony overlooking there. It is to die for. It's one of the most amazing experiences, and what a beautiful location. This is one of the other places we stayed, Bougainvillea Lodge. Beautiful. This is the day we're going to have a half day of a mini safari at a place called Lake Manyara. So it's like a warm-up kind of safari, I call it. But everybody from abroad liked it because I grew up in Africa. Seeing other safaris, that was like a sort of average one in terms of the quality of the animals you see and the experience, but still beautiful. The lodge was beautiful and just allowed us to unwind. This is a luxury glamping place that we'll be staying at. It's a new one. Last year we stayed at a place called Kati Kati Lodge. This one is called it's called Kibo, I think. I need to confirm it. I've forgotten the name. I've got it on the next slide. But this is where we're staying, and it's really beautiful. And this lodge has a pool in the middle of the Serengeti, so it's tented. We get lovely outdoor food, and I mean, lovely. You can have like a barbecue, or there'll be a fireside thing happening outside. Outdoor tents, really beautiful experience, and you get to chill in a pool and oversee the game from that pool, which is really beautiful. This is seen from Serengeti. So who can do this? What you need to do? How fit you need to be? Well, here is a lady, 86 years old, Russian lady, who did it. And if you read her words and quote at the bottom, she says, extremely hard. The saying is that is as hard as giving childbirth. And Ambika, who's done both, now confirms that that's true. I think she thought Kilimanjaro was a bit harder. She did cry on Kilimanjaro a tad more than when she was giving birth to Kanaya, and I was there for both. However, it's doable by all. And fitness, we've had the lower age limit, which is 10, has actually been broken last year or this year. A 7-year-old girl has done it. Last year it was 8-year-old. This year, 7-year-old has done it. Hopefully, Kanaya will get to do it when he's 5. I don't know. Touch wood. Let's see. But anyway, the fitter you are, the greater the chance of summit success. However, being fit doesn't guarantee that you will summit. This is Martina Navratilova, Wimbledon champion, and she did not summit Mount Kilimanjaro. So I just want to put it out there that if you're concerned about your fitness, you just need to be moderately fit. Being uber fit doesn't necessarily guarantee that you will do it. And all you want to do is have your body used to and conditioned to doing this very simple task. Is your body able to convert food into energy? And does it do so efficiently? And are you able to follow instructions like, guys, drink water now, finish your 2 liters, have 3 liters of water, guys, we've got to sleep now, or this or that. And we take care of that. Various things from when we set up the campsite, we, like I said, we identify the snorers. And we might say, you guys are going to sleep that side so that everyone gets a good rest. We have extras like the toilets and the shower, so that comfort is number one and your chance of summit success is highest. We also do daily checks on, we have an oximeter. We're going to check your oxygen levels. If there's any concern around oxygen levels, we will then check things like BP and other vitals. We have, obviously, everyone there, the guides are all first aid trained. We have a 24-hour, the group we're using have a 24-hour radio access to an emergency to get you down. You can come down from almost any point of the mountain on a stretcher within 3 or 4 hours to a point where a vehicle will collect you and then take you to the nearest clinic. Something that started this year, which wasn't even there for all these years, is I think the Danish government or something have donated, and they've created a high altitude clinic on Mount Kilimanjaro, which is, you would think for a mountain of this caliber and the number of people globally that have summited it would have been there a few decades ago. It hasn't. It's just happened now. So again, this is all for your benefit. There are other two main things that I worry happen. That you can have what's called cerebral edema or pulmonary edema. This is like swelling of your brain or swelling of your lungs, and it can happen to anybody. But it's a very low chance or low percentage of people that that happens to. If we sense that it's happening to anybody, symptoms are like you might be coughing out, there might be some blood in your spit, then things like that we look out for, and we will take you down. But it's reduced altitude is a very quick recovery. Like you feel it immediately. If there's some emergency, we bring you down a bit. It is not a technical climb. It doesn't require picks and ropes and stuff. So, if we have whatever the weather, if we have good clothing, good rest, and follow good protocol, you will be good. So those are the risks. There's no guarantee of summiting. There is an increased chance of summiting, though, with the route we're using and with the number of days that we're doing. There's obviously a risk of illness, injury, weather, which we cannot control or predict. And this is a tentative bonus. I've still got it there. But yeah, if we do get to 30 people, then I'm looking to do a fire walking session at base. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever done one. It's where we get to walk on hot coal. And just so that we can get to create the first fire to ice experience within 7 days is what we will do. Again, depending on numbers, if we do, we will be able to get a friend of mine who is a mountaineering video journalist, and we can get him to come and camera and video that so that we have these memories forever. So we got so many clips. We have about 2,000 something clips and videos from the last one from everybody, which becomes very hard to edit and put together some stories, but we will slowly be releasing some of them. But of course, the risks there, the most dangerous risk of all is the risk of spending your life not doing what you want on the bet you can buy yourself the freedom to do it later. Now, I will tell you this. When we went in 2014, we have some very close friends, and Meg, you even know these guys from Zambia, who said, hey man, we want to do this. They couldn't make it that year. Something came up. They said, we'll go next year. So we said, here are our guide details. Contact him. Go with them. Speak to them. Go for it. And they did. They got in touch. They started training. Something happened. Someone has a wedding. Someone has a baby. Someone moves country. Someone gets a promotion. And we live in a world where we will get stopped by reasons and circumstances. And it didn't happen. When we went in 2017, hey guys, let's go. We want to do this. But the timing doesn't work. This doesn't work. We're doing 2018. Again, something has come up for them. But in speech, people continue to say, we love to do that. We would want to do that. And I actually have it that sometimes this mountain kind of it's got to do with fate. It's got to do with destiny. But if you're someone that's like, you know what, that is something I would love to do, and there are a handful of human beings that have done it, I'm up for it. I'm up for prioritizing that, like I'm booking in a wedding or I'm booking in a honeymoon, and go making that happen. And you get to really discover your greatness on the other side of it, because we are doing a unique program, and I don't think anybody is doing something similar to what we're doing. There was another guy that used to do it for $10,000. They've recently discontinued. So what we're doing is, pretty unique, and I'm grateful that we are doing this. I got connected to this when my brother's father-in-law shared at the age of 70-something that he was there at the age of mid-30s. They were about to do it, and something came up the day that they were about to start, and they said, you know what, we'll cancel it, we'll come and do it next year. And he says, son, 34 years have passed, and next year has never come. So I really, really implore you guys, if this is something you'd want to do, leap at an opportunity to do it. And even if you choose not to do it with us and to do it with somebody else, like, lock it in. It's one of the most beautiful things I wish upon everyone. So this is an extract from some of the monthly calls that we do. It's to connect and get to know each other. This is a photo from the Maasai village. It's a school that we got to go and sit in the Maasai village, and they did an amazing welcome song, dance, and it's just really, really fun. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. African proverb. What's happened since? We've had people like Emma get interviewed by magazines. She's from Spain. They interviewed her. She just gets to capture a story and gets to be in a magazine about why she's doing this, and she gets to share that. And she was actually a FITBANKER team member, so she came to support me. A year ago, that was her on the left. She loses 20 kilos within a year on our program, and there she is doing Mount Kilimanjaro. At the bottom there is Simran and her. Both did Mount Kilimanjaro, 20-something kilos lighter than when they first met FITBANKER. So what does it entail? It's 2,900. What's included? All the tents, the toilets, the showers, sleeping bags, the porters, and the guides. Those are two separate groups of people. There are waiters, there are chefs, there's a toilet cleaner, there are special roles for certain things. Full day workshop at the start, day of serve and gratitude after. There is the 4-night luxury bed and breakfast at base, and we're choosing a place with a pool, and there's loads of extras there, believe you me. And the airport transfers, so your pickup, your drop-off time, whatever time it is, we factor that in. We'll offer you training and nutrition guidance. Between us, you need about 2 months to prepare, but like I said, we've had people do it even signing up a few weeks before, but they've been relatively fit and active, and they've been practicing. We have access to the WhatsApp group we add you to once you're signed up. Those in the UK, there are treks going on, and we'll give you the full gear and equipment list. And if you are in the UK, or if you want to buy your stuff from the UK, we have a host of corporate discounts with a number of providers, up to 1/5 the price off, 20% off, and we have about 5 stores that give us these discounts. And we have a FITBANKER Kilimanjaro Leadership Summit t-shirts that you'll have as a memento for you. What's not included, of course, you have to buy your gear yourself, your backpack, snacks for the trek, like little energy bars and stuff. We will provide other snacks along the way. There will be various things along the way, but of course, we recommend you carry a few energy bars for 2 to 3 a day that you need. Your air flight out there, and then the tips will be between 100 and 150 pounds. I say that, but I think the budget we had for tips last year, everyone tended to tip more. If you think about it, there are going to be about 60 people, and if 30 of us are giving £100 each, you're basically giving about £3,000 across 60 people. Comes out to about $20 each. For 7 days work, you tend to realize, you know what, I could do better. And you get blown away by the way these guys take care of you. So I just realized this, that that 2,900, up to end of August, we had this scholarship, but I didn't edit this. And because we haven't yet made the international transfer, for every transfer we have to make, it costs us $100 to transfer to Africa. So we can still honor this scholarship if any of you guys are signing up, but it will have to be by Wednesday next week latest. Otherwise, it's 2,900 if you still need to do it after that. But if you are signing up now, and if you do pay in full, then it will be 2,750. £300 of which is non-refundable. No matter what comes up, when that comes up, we won't be able to refund you £300 just because we have to make certain commitments on the ground, and then we account for certain expenses the moment we know there's a new head count. Share your why you're doing this. Make it be really big and let it be as personal and private, but feel free to share it with this group. This group is going to really cause your transformation. We've done this now twice. We've had people transform their way of being. Like Simran has just now left a job. She's traveled to India. She's getting a job there. She's doing stuff. We just did an interview with her last 2 weeks ago, and she's like, I would have never been doing these things in my life if it wasn't for doing Kilimanjaro. Because once you've done it, you feel you can do anything. You need insurance. The insurance you need is basically for medical evacuation, and that's separate from travel insurance. Travel insurance is for your baggage along the way and stuff like that. But medical insurance, you need it for medical evacuation. You won't, if you don't have it, you won't not be allowed to climb. You will be, but we do recommend it. There is, of course, like I said, now a new high altitude clinic. There is a provider we have which will do all in their power and capacity, and they have everything available to support us being safe and take us down. Look, risk and injury is really, really a small percentage, but we have to mention it. So it's doable by most human beings. Remember that. And you will find on this mountain, you'll see a lot of people in their 60s, much older than you, looking less fitter than you, doing this mountain. So try not to worry too much about that. And if you have anybody else you'd like to join with you, do invite them. This is a life transforming experience, and I really mean it. And now we've just got to start training right away. And even if you're thinking about it, you should start training. And training, what does that look like? Once a week, walk 10 kilometers or walk 20 kilometers once a week, right? Maybe do 3 20-kilometer walks between now and then, or in the last 6 weeks up to that, and try and do, 3 times a week, 5 to 10-kilometer walks. That is enough. You don't need to overdo it. If you go to the gym and if you do a HIIT class, HIIT is a brilliant exercise that gets your body efficient in converting food into energy. So doing stuff like that, doing spinning, going to the gym, all that supports you, right? You don't have to run 40 kilometers. Even if you just did 1 20-kilometer walk, it's just so that you mentally are present to what it takes to visually see something for 5 hours or 4 hours of moving. And we'll talk to you about nutrition. Ultimately, I want to leave you guys with this about what you will be left with at the end of your life and on your tombstone. You are not the things you own. You're not the stories. You are the stories you tell. So fill your life with experiences, not things. I want to leave you guys with that. Okay, any questions, Mehek or Mahesh? No questions. Okay, clear. Mehek?
I think you answered most of them. I guess other than alternating sickness, did you experience anything else? Like anyone in your group?
Everyone, not everyone, but most people will have some form of migraine or headaches. And one thing we do,
Okay.
which our mountain climb company, they actually told us in all their years, they found very unique about us, and I'm surprised they found it unique, is we do a bit of sort of stretching and sort of yoga breathing that we coach you on, and they found that unique of us, which I was surprised that it was unique. I thought a lot of people would do this, but we happened to have somebody that was big into his yoga, and we show you people how to breathe. And if you do yoga, you would know this, how to breathe into your stomach. And we coach you mentally in the on the workshop there, as well as in our webinars, how to breathe at a pace that's distinct from the pace of the movement of your limbs. Most of us subconsciously move and breathe at the pace that we're moving at. So if we're walking fast, we start breathing fast. If we're walking slow, we start breathing slow. But we teach you how to breathe at a pace distinct from your rate of movement. And that was a big game changer. And that helped hydration. We also, on this one, the second time we did in 2017, much better health rate, much better oxygen rate, and like I said, 100% summit rate. In 2014, we had one nurse she was overweight, and she also was undertrained. And overweight doesn't necessarily mean an issue. There have been cases where the more fat you have in your body, you actually are able to tap into that fat. It's called triggering ketosis on the mountain. I just mentioned to you earlier about the keto diet, Mac. So the keto diet is, and what we use on the mountain, rather than a lot of the climbers give you very sugary foods, they literally will have in the tent a bowl of sugar and sweets. Now, what happens with that kind of a diet on the mountain is sugar creates a sugar spike. You feel great for about 15-20 minutes, and then it crashes. And then when you have more sugar after that, you create 7 or 8 sugar crashes in a day across a 7-hour walk. And at the end of the day, mentally, you've experienced 8 crashes. And so mentally, you actually think you're more tired than you actually are. But that was just mental because you had 8 lows. And we teach you how to have steady and consistent energy by having slow burning carbs like oats and good fats like nut butters. We have loads of nuts along the way. We have a host of other stuff that we ask them to bring and provide, as well as we recommend things that you carry.
Okay, that's helpful. Um, what was I going to say? How did you get to choose? I guess you talked about the foundation and the school. How do you get to choose what school you're helping or where the foundation's going? Like, what's that process? Does the group have any say in it?
Yeah, well, the thing is, in terms of the group have any say, no, but we want you to be enrolled in and supportive of what we've chosen, why we've chosen. And the reason is because it's such a big item for many people, many people will have, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. And what you tend to find is that no single one of us makes a significant difference to multiple organizations, right? So we thought if we combine our efforts, we make a difference to one. And we saw in 2014 we raised £17,000, and also corporates, employees that you work for, many of them, if you speak to your HR departments, you'll find out that they do. When you're doing something like Kilimanjaro, they do what's called match funding. So we had the likes of PwC, EY, a few others, Google. They were doing match funding. So for every pound we raised, they matched it. So if you're as a group fundraising for one cause, right, then say all of us as a group raise £4,000 somewhere, they double that. They gave you 8,000. And suddenly, individually, I don't know what we raised, but ultimately with few other corporate providers that gave match funding, we got to £17,000. So we get to make a real big difference, A, by combining efforts, number one. Number two, we chose one charity called Able Child Africa. The reason we chose Able Child Africa is while we're celebrating our abilities and physical strength and capacity, this is an organization that supports children in Africa with physical disabilities. They're also a charity who we personally knew the patron of this charity. She's somebody who was in the same school that Ambika was in Missouri, and she's now no longer patron. There's other patrons and chairs and donors and directors of this charity, but if you look them up, ablechildafrica.org, they're a charity we chose last year. We were thinking of supporting them again this year, but now, and we may still, but we now may look to support just one on the ground, because when we went there on the ground last year, we actually saw, you know what, they do have an established structure on the ground. There is good corporate governance with this organization or entity. And the one we're working with this time is in partnership with Lions Club in Moshi. And the Lions Club have established business community members there. And if we do it in partnership with Lions Club, then they get involved with the implementation, disbursement, and the rollout of stuff on the ground. So we're still finalizing that we're working with this charity, but the charity have confirmed, of course, that they would love to have us there, and that they will, work around our timing and date for us to meet them and so on. And we're also working with our providers, who are phenomenal guys. The son of the owner of this organization studied here in London, so he's a friend of mine, and he's somebody I know personally. But yeah, we want to be able to make a difference to those less able to celebrate the feat that we're doing. And that's how we've chosen them.
Okay, makes sense.
Awesome. Anything else, Mac?
I'm sure I'll have more questions at some point, but I'm good for now.
Okay, great. Is there anything else that you need to figure out? Do you know if you're in, or is there stuff that you still need to look at before you make a decision?
Yeah, I need to look at a couple more things, but this gives me more context, like on the time commitment.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a couple more things to check, and then I'll let you know.
Awesome. So the safari is separate, so you can let me know if you choose to do, if you want to do the safari too. And as an example, if you wanted to do both of them, Kili and safari,
Yes.
and then you wanted somebody else to join for safari with you, that's also an option.
So the trek's 9 days and the safari's 4, right?
The safari is four nights, and we leave on the 5th day. Yeah. So if you're doing safari, you would fly back on the 13th. As early as 6 in the morning are the first flights that people will be taking out. And so we designed the night before, we sleep near not far from the airport, and at 3 a.m. we head to the airport, and there are flights out at 6 a.m. that we leave on the 13th. So all you need to know is you need to arrive there on the 29th. 29th, everyone can arrive anytime on the 29th, so long you're not arriving on the 30th. And 30th is the day of workshops. And whatever time you arrive, whichever flight, we'll have that covered in terms of pickup and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, and if doing Kili, you depart on the 9th. If doing Kili only, you depart on the 9th. If doing safari, you depart on the 13th. If by any chance you need to leave a day early, you could get a night flight out on the 8th. But that, you need to let us know, because we have to make a separate arrangement for that, and it's, the airport transfer and so on. We need to make sure it works for the team movements on the day.
Okay, makes sense.
Awesome. All right, great. Then we'll wrap up there. Meg, reach out to me. As mentioned, we are doing a bulk payment now to these guys this week. It just happens that we haven't already done it, and it was meant to be done end of August. So we can still honor that current price if you're in. And if you know anybody else who would be in, reach out to me ASAP if they would like to get on a webinar before I make this initial payment that we're doing right now.
Okay, will do.
Okay. All right. Cheers, Meg. Have an awesome rest of your Monday. Okay. Bye.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.